Welcome to the ROI Masterclass, the podcast where vision meets strategy and bold moves create measurable results. I'm Liat Siegel, interior designer and ROI strategist with 17 years of experience. I help businesses transform properties and ideas into high-performing assets. This show is specifically for real estate investors, hospitality operators, and boutique developers who aren't afraid to take risks, challenge the status quo, and demand a return on every decision they make. Each and every week, we talk with innovators and leaders across industries about the strategies and the insights and really all the unconventional thinking that turns potential into profit every single time. If you believe that smart design, decisive leadership, and strategic risk are the keys to real ROI, you're in the exact right place. Let's dive in. Chef Adrianne Calvo is an award-winning Miami restaurateur, best-selling cookbook author, and Emmy-nominated host known for her signature maximum flavor style. With over 1.2 million social media followers, she's built a powerful brand that blends unforgettable dining experience with a high-impact media presence. Her flagship, Chef Adrianne's Vineyard Restaurant and Bar, is a mixture of must-visit lists, while her national reach through Goldbelly brings her creations to fans across the country. She's appeared on The Today Show, Good Morning America, Chopped, Beat Bobby Flay, and more, and hosts the Emmy-nominated YouTube travel series, Searching for Maximum Flavor. Beyond the Kitchen, Adrianne leads the Make It Count Foundation, honoring her late sister by helping others live fully and with purpose. Thank you so much for joining us, Adrianne.
Oh my gosh, thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here chatting up with you.
Me too. So tell us about how you got started and what makes Maximum Flavor the brand it is today.
Well, how I got started it's kind of a long story, but in a nutshell, I originally wanted to be a journalist. I wanted to tell stories for a living, and a scheduling mistake would put me in a cooking class my junior year of high school. In the meantime, while I was waiting for my schedule to change, Johnson & Wales University, which is a leading culinary university, comes to do a demo. And I call that day the lightning strike, because while everyone else was talking with their friends and ignoring the presentation, I was just full on, I was enamored. And I said, from that point on, I want to cook for the rest of my life. That was the lightning strike. From that point on, I came home and I was like, Mom, Dad, I want to be a chef. And I had to do culinary competitions to raise money for college because, fun fact, culinary school is actually very expensive. So I started winning these culinary competitions, and I wasn't doing anything avant-garde. I wasn't doing molecular cuisine. I was winning based on flavor. And at that point, I was the only female, and I was the only one not doing these, science, borderline science projects. And one of the judges goes, "This girl is winning on one thing, and it's flavor." And that was like the crux of everything. I really truly believe at the end of the day, when we're dining out, unless we're feeding ourselves just for nourishment on the go, when we're dining out, we're trying to eat things that we crave all week, all day long, things that make us really salivate or daydream, And I don't think people ever have said, I'm really craving that powdered foam air, this or that, And that was kind of the beginning of Maximum Flavor. So that judge says, collect all these culinary competition recipes, and you got to make a cookbook, and you got to name it Maximum Flavor. I took his advice and I made my first cookbook at 18 years old.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And the rest is history.
The rest is history.
I got to buy it for my daughter because she loves cooking, and she wasn't sure yet if she wanted to be a chef or not, but that is definitely something that I need to purchase for her and read through it and then give you, her take and all of that.
Oh my God. Well, since then I have 7 cookbooks now. That first one is this emoji. No, I was 18 years old. It's borderline a children's book.
Well, maybe it will be good for her.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, I'll tell her to buy all of them then. You mentioned about being the only woman in the room. And in an interview, you also mentioned about, being a woman in the restaurant industry as a chef, having bulletproof skin. Can you tell us a little bit more about what that means?
Yes, it's so cliche to say, a female and in a male dominated industry. I think that that's still very true to maybe 90% of the industries out there. Like, I can't say if you're an attorney, you're not going to go into a firm and it's not the same thing. And so many industries are still like that. As for mine, I mean, I own my own restaurant, and if I'm hiring males, they still don't take direction. And that's not to say everyone's the same, but there definitely still is a general sentiment where you have to prove yourself twice or three times as hard. It really is ridiculous how crazy you have to go above and beyond, justify why you want something done a certain way, why you're giving these orders. And if you were a man, they respect you, they take it, they don't question you. And that's just the way society is still built. I do think that I'm trying to pave the way for people to just say chef and not female chef anymore, because when you say doctor, as an example, you're just doctor. You're not female doctor. And when you're a chef, you're just a chef. You're not female or male chef. So when we start taking these words out of our daily language, I think we're going to start to strip that away from, at least from kitchens. So now it's chef, period. But yeah, there's definitely struggles day to day. I can't say it's much better than it was when I started back in 2007, but it's okay. You know, we're here to prove to all the young girls out there that it is possible. You can be a fierce female. You can own your own thing and be successful.
Absolutely. I teach my daughters that all the time.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you're fierce.
Yes.
You're one to be reckoned with.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I mean, even in the design industry, right, where it's real estate and construction and architecture and all of those things. And oftentimes I'm the only woman in the room. And so you have to oftentimes build up your knowledge and your confidence to be able to command a room and say, I know this to be true. Not I think this is true, or not I think it should be this way. No, this is the way that it is. This is what I know to be true. And I love that you said bulletproof skin, because literally that's what you need in order to, show up in that confident way.
Absolutely. I just wrote a piece for LinkedIn. I was talking about that bulletproof skin thing, and you got to let it fuel you. You cannot let it, make you fear your industry or turn the other way or depress you. No, you have to use it as fuel to get you to that next level.
Absolutely. Because it could literally tear you down and make you feel like, oh, I'm not being seen, I'm not being heard, nobody respects my opinion. But when you take it and you turn it in that direction to fuel positive growth, then the outcome is so much better.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And in that journey that you've had growing and from that 18-year-old self, you've also created a really unique experience called Darkness Dining. Can you share with us how that was birthed and what it has become today? Dark Dining,
I've been doing dark dining now for 18 years. And that came from, I wanted to take my diners on a journey on something. I wanted them to learn something about themselves. And I wanted to reach farther than I could with just making a dish, making it as delicious as I could, and then they leave. And to me, even though that was wonderful, and that's kind of what a restaurant is, I wanted to go beyond that. I wanted them to have this takeaway that lingered with them far after they left the restaurant. And so I'm like, well, if they learn something about themselves and something positive and something great, they're going to talk about this for a long, long time. And they might even return to do this experience over and over again. I had seen on TV where they were out in Europe, they were doing dinners in a dark room, but people had menus and it wasn't that dark, right? And servers had night vision goggles on, and you ordered off a menu and you ate in the dark. And I was like, well, okay, this is kind of cool, but if you order off a menu, you're definitely going to have some type of idea of what you're going to eat. And eventually, I'm sure you've done this where you're, let's say, in a dark closet, and eventually your pupils dilate enough where you can see like your hand in front of you. So I'm like, I'm going to level this up, and I'm going to blindfold our guests with a pitch black dark blindfold. The menu is 100% a surprise. All we do is ask you for allergies. We don't want to kill anybody. That's it. You don't know, you have no idea what's going to come before you. So you have to smell your way, feel your way, sometimes listen, to really what's on your plate. And then lastly, you taste it. So this experience puts you in the most vulnerable position possible, but it's so rewarding because at the end, there's people that, as an example, they haven't liked duck their whole life. They never tried it. They just thought they never would like it. And at the end, they were like, this pork was so delicious. And I'm like, this was duck breast. And now they left my restaurant with something that they're going to enjoy for the rest of their life, because now they're like, hey, I never thought I would like this, but now I'm going to like it and now I'm going to enjoy it. And so it's been like that for so many years now that I don't get tired of doing it.
What's the craziest experience you've had?
There haven't been very, very many, I have to say. A lot of people are like, I'm sure there's a lot of accidents. People probably drop a lot of wine glasses and it's messy. And it's actually not. We will have a room full of 100 people, all reaching for wine glasses, water glasses, all at the same time. And would you believe that nothing ever falls?
Wow.
Because people are extra careful. And muscle memory, when you're sitting at a table, how far you pretty much have to reach for a glass, how far you have to bring it to your face. Hardly ever any accidents. So I think the lack of accidents is probably the coolest thing, that's ever happened.
I mean, I feel like it just proves more how much our senses are imperative for everything that we experience, whether it's visually or with our taste buds, any of our senses, they really each have their own unique importance in the whole experience, even down to plating and the visual appeal or appearance and ambiance of the space. I think that doing it in this way is so unique so that people can really, it creates this unforgettable. I've never heard of anything like this before. It's so unique that it's really like, it's a memory that they're never going to forget.
Absolutely. And I mean, we've had people that then come back and they want to throw a bachelorette this way, or they'll do somebody's 70th birthday party or retirement party. And it's just so fun to be around your friends and family doing something this cool. Yeah, I mean, we're very excited to be the ones that were on the forefront of something like this.
Yeah, you're pioneering. And you've pioneered so much also with your personal brand too. How has building a distinctive brand impacted your restaurants and your overall success?
Oh, I think that building a distinctive brand is part of the personality of your business. If you have a distinctive brand, you're giving life to it. For me, my brand is an extension of me. So it's been easy for me. It's the things that I love the most. It's the things that you can say, it's just been an easy extension. So I think that when people understand your brand, it's easy for them to go and experience your business because they're like, they jive with it. They get it. They understand it. And it becomes much less transactional. They're part of your story. I mean, restaurants are a dime a dozen, but when you come to Chef Adrianne's, each guest is part of my story. We do treat them like we roll out the red carpet for them. My staff is definitely trained, whether they've been there for 15 years or 5 minutes, it doesn't matter. Each guest that comes through that door, you have to try your best to remember their name because we are beyond grateful that you chose us when there's 10,000 other options. It doesn't matter if you spend $5 or $500 either. We thank you. And that's important for me. And I think that my brand is synonymous with that feeling. It's not just in gratitude, but it's in giving you something more than just the food on your plate.
Absolutely. We buy from people at the end of the day. We don't want to buy or be another number or a cog in the wheel.
Correct.
We want to make sure. And I think that's, true in terms of also the design and the storytelling when they come to the restaurant as well. It continues that brand, that I like to say, that online to offline experience where they're experiencing you online, but then when they come to your restaurant, is it that same feeling, that same story, that same emotion that they're experiencing in the space? And you have that continuity.
It's been very, very important for me. I mean, if you come to my restaurant, speaking of online to offline, for example, my parents designed the restaurant and we moved from one space to the next. And there's these copper tiles that I had when I opened. I was 22 years old when I opened my first restaurant. It was a big deal to import these copper tiles from Napa Valley because the restaurant's inspired by Napa Valley. And so when we moved locations into this much bigger location on a lakefront and whatnot, it was very important, the design element, that we moved those copper tiles. And so you see my dad, and I documented all of this. My dad removed all the copper tiles, placed them in the new restaurant. We have wine barrels that also transferred over artwork from Napa Valley. And while, yes, we could have just done, a designer could have come in and just made another Miami restaurant. But it was important for me to have that continuity and the things that mattered in the place where it all started to continue there. So guests, or what we call legacy guests, they know, oh, wait, I remember that from the old restaurant. I remember these copper tiles. I remember the wine barrels. And that's important.
Do you feel like the ambiance makes an impact on the overall guest experience and their desire, especially seeing, I'm sure you see other restaurants as well and how they do. Do you feel that that makes a big impact in terms of them coming back and if they're happy or not?
Yes, definitely as a part of a whole of something bigger. So you could have the most beautiful ambiance. I mean, and I'm talking to you about multi-million-dollar investment in ambiance. But if your food and service aren't there, then your ambiance doesn't matter. It could be as great as you want it to be, but you won't have guests returning. They might come once, they might take a picture, but they're not going to come back and spend money there. Now, if you have great food and great service and a beautiful ambiance, well, you have the trifecta. You have a winning recipe. And yes, now that really, that's a home run.
Absolutely. I've heard people say, other restaurateurs say, that design is what gets people to come in and the service and the food gets them to come back.
Agreed. I think that's pretty spot on.
It's pretty accurate. You said trifecta. Do you think that those are the three pillars, or is there like, what are the pillars of a successful restaurant?
Yeah, I would say those are it. Service number one, food number two, ambiance number two there with food.
Okay.
Yeah.
The plating
service, because we're humans and we will do anything based on how we feel. We will buy anything. We will forgive. We will love. We will, everything is based on how we feel. We might eat at a counter, in a no-name dive bar. If something is making us feel welcome there, or there's a story tying us there, the best something, or the best bartender, or the best sandwich you ever had. We might eat there once a week and everything. However, that's all based on how we feel. But I don't know if we could serve the best dish in the most beautiful place, but if they treat you bad, you might take a while to come back if you do.
So how do you evoke emotion in your guests to get that feeling?
Number one is gratitude, making sure that everywhere that they turn, they're feeling that we're thankful that they're there. They matter. They are seen. We have systems in place that will remember the last time they were there, that they drank an old fashioned, or that their wife's birthday is coming up, that they shared a brown sugar crusted salmon as an example, that they always take a brownie home for their son. All these notes are jotted down, and our servers are trained to remember these are the people that are coming through your door. These are the people that matter. So you have to remember these details. So that's how we evoke emotion. Then we create the best food that we possibly can and just wow their palate. But that part's easy.
And make sure that it's maximum flavor. That's amazing. In terms of operations and making sure that the staff is trained in order to continue doing that, are there any key tips that you can give our audience so that they can also train their staff to do the same?
You have to be relentless when you're training. Not everybody's going to get it. Not everybody's going to get your mission, and they're not going to get your why, because to them, as an example, they might think good is good enough. So when you're an owner operator who's always trying to push to that next level to get more refined or see how you can possibly provide better service, sometimes it's more dynamic service. Sometimes it's thinking outside the box, or sometimes it's just, practicing what we've done over and over again, because maybe we can be more efficient. So sometimes people won't get it and they can't be part of your team. But those that get it, you have to really make them feel like your team, like they matter, like they're touching people, they're creating memories for others. This is not just about a paycheck. When you're in hospitality, you have to have a true love for serving others. And myself and our core managers, our upper management, we already have this eye for those people. We identify, yes, you're a hospitalian. No, you're not a hospitalian. This is not for you. This one's for you. You know what I mean? So identifying who these people are, these little magical elves, is very important.
Magical elves. That is my new tagline. I love that. That is amazing. I'm going to use that everywhere. When you have gone through the motions. I mean, it's been a journey since 18 till now. What has been the most challenging yet rewarding thing that you've learned along the way?
I would say that there's just so many challenges that come along the way that if I was to kind of put it all under one overarching idea or one balloon, is that to get into this industry, if you're ever thinking about being a restaurateur or a chef, you can't like it. You have to absolutely love it. If you're not going to love the 2 a.m., rewriting menus or seeing like how you can improve what you're doing or trying to figure out issues that you're having with the operation, if you're not in love with all of it, then this is not for you, because there's really beautiful, glamorous parts of this career. And then there's really brutal parts of this career. And so you have to be willing to take it all. And to take it all, you have to be really in love with it.
I feel like the same is true for design, because if I had known about construction, just how much was involved in the nitty gritty, and people say, well, don't you just go into a room and design it? Yes, I do that. But then there's all these little things that you have to take into consideration. You have to understand so many moving parts and to be able to manage so many moving people throughout the process. If you don't love it, you can't stay in it.
No, so I always say that unless you're like, you and I, people that we really gravitate to one thing passionately, then the rest of the people, this is why a 9 to 5 was invented, because we can't do 9 to 5s, right? No. So we do, round the clock. We do 24 hours a day. But for those that can't put it all on the line and aren't fully devoted to what they do, that's why 9 to 5s are for. So you can just have your normal time, your normal life.
And I didn't know that in the beginning. I thought like it was magic land and that I'd be on a beach somewhere top with my kids playing. And then the reality of entrepreneurship smacked me in the face. And I was like, wow, this is interesting. Wow. But I wouldn't give it up for the world, and even I think we've all had our moments when we're like, I've heard that people cry in the walk-in fridge.
I still cried in the walk-in fridge, but I've had very close moments to where I'm like, oh, I get it. Yes.
Absolutely. So what is the legacy that you want to leave with your brand? What's next for you?
I've never been, not even one time during an interview, been able to answer what's next, because I've always felt so blessed by our good Lord to be in this position that I never would imagine that I would be in this position. So for me to say I can imagine what's next, no, I can't. But what I would love to do is continue to cook and provide these beautiful experiences to people for as long as I can, for the rest of my life. To be able to cook till the end of my days is the greatest gift I can ever imagine. That's pretty much it. I don't have any big and ambitious legacy. No, I just want to cook, bring people some smiles and have a good time along the way.
I do think, though, there is a bigger impact. I think there is a why to what you do, whether it's impacting women, like I've heard you mention multiple times, or just the guest experience. I believe for you that there's an impact. There's a flavor that you're wanting to leave people with.
Absolutely. I want to be that example that people talk about. I didn't come from money. I didn't come where somebody set me up a restaurant. I never had a restaurant group behind me. I have been a sole entrepreneur through and through. And to be female, to be that young when I started, to take on all the risk, I want to be that example for others, not just females, everybody who's ever afraid to take a risk, bet on themselves. If I can do it, trust me, anybody can do it. So, as an example, inspiration for others, that if you have that grit and that will to do it, you can do it.
If you can leave our audience with just 3 tips for anyone looking to start a restaurant or just succeed in the hospitality industry, what would those 3 things be?
So number 1 would be to make sure that you love it, not like it, love it through and through, because it will demand so much from you. So you have to absolutely love it. Number 2 is remember that the customer is not always right, but the customer is the customer. So that makes them right. So you have to be able to make them feel seen and to welcome them back with open arms and make whatever situation, even if they're wrong or they're right, whatever it is, to make them feel welcomed, seen, and appreciated. And number 3 would be to never stop being a student, keep learning. This is an ever evolving industry. Trends change, and just be able to be fluid, and absorb what's going on. Maybe sometimes it's not absorb what's going on. Sometimes it's maintain on your path, but be fluid and always have that mindset of like that you are a student, because when you are a student, you're in the best position to take in really great knowledge. And that will just bleed into your business.
And make an impact on everyone else that's under leadership.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Adrianne, for being with us. It's been a pleasure getting to know you and to hear your story. And I very much appreciate you sharing with our audience.
Thank you so much for having me.